At the break between West Ham and Arsenal, it was West Ham that opened the scoring in Wilkinson. Rachel Coursey here in. If we look at that first goal for West Ham, we talked about the dirty old weather beforehand. We thought maybe it would be the test on Megan Walsh, the keeper up the other end for West Ham, but it proved to be for Arsenal.
Yeah, we said it was going to be bad weather, slick, and they got the ball in the box. We saw 3 West Ham players, so I think, you know, this is not on purpose, but equally when you get the ball in the box, you get numbers in the box, things happen, goalkeeper error, and yeah, they were 1-0 up because of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of those delivered balls into the box. I think even Chiquita Martinez is probably, as it's left her foot, thinking, that wasn't what I meant. And I have to say, from playing with Daphne, she's one of the best goalkeepers I've played with her handling and coming for crosses. That's a mistake that's so rare for her, and she won't thank us for doing these 3 or 4 slow-mo replays. But she just sort of loses it right as it's sort of over her head. She starts to reach, and she's no longer looking at the ball, and it's so unfortunate, and it's so harsh when you play in that position. You make mistakes like that. That can be costly. But Arsenal got themselves back in the game. They
came back into it, though, Arsenal, and this is the kind of resolve we're used to seeing from them against West Ham.
Yeah, and it's a ball down the line, and to be fair, West Ham don't give you that many chances to get in behind, but Russo, willing runner, does really well, holds it up. Nice little inside ball, and it's a little bit untidy on first glance, but it's actually a really intelligent finish. Sort of in those positions as a defender, I know naturally you try and sort of extend your legs out to try and block the shot, and Frida Manum really intelligently just knows if she can just reverse that. It doesn't almost need that much pace. It's a nice slick sort of touch and half turn finish. And
defensive questions?
Yeah, I think just here you see, and we've had some debate, almost we'll call it a debate, not an argument, but I think here you see just on the inside edge of the box, close to the referee, you see Beth Mead and Shalina Zadorsky side by side. For me, when you see Tysiak's come out with Russo as one of the centre backs, for me Zadorsky has to be getting back central. Beth Mead with a nice little double movement gives her that yard of space, and then that means the West Ham backline are trying to react to recover.
Yeah.
Just briefly, who's the happier going into half time?
I think West Ham's happier, and they've got it. You've seen them just so many corner kicks against them. They're going to have to suffer in this game, but that mentality that they didn't have last season, can they stay in the game, continue to get bodies into the box and get more shots on target?
Arsenal always score when they're away from home, and they've got themselves back in it against West Ham after that early mistake. 1-1 at the break. Ellen, Emma, thank you. Seeing that score at the end at times in that match, where's that coming from? But it had a whiff of last weekend, didn't it? Arsenal, under the pump, respond.
Yeah, I think it's what we also learned about Arsenal last weekend, is that now this depth that they've been working really hard to build, they only get better at the end of games. They step it up, and with some of the opposition, you see them flagging, you see them getting tired, and Arsenal is able to hit a brand new gear with some of the fantastic talent they can bring on.
Another gear, Rachel?
Yeah, I actually thought today they were very, very professional, I think is probably the best word to describe it. I thought it was competent in every element of the game. Defensively, they went behind, but without conceding a shot on target. I don't really remember West Ham having too many other opportunities after that goal they scored in the 5th minute. And for West Ham, these aren't necessarily the games where you'd expect them to pick up points. I think they'll feel disappointed at the nature of how they probably allowed Arsenal to create so many good chances. That being said, I do think that Arsenal were really, really effective today.
It is that difference we talked about before the game, this depth that she's now got, but the ability to blend those players too, which is not always easy.
It's not, and I think that Rachel talked about a professional performance. The weather was not great. The field was slick. I didn't think it was clean in the first 45. They kept trying to get the crosses in. It wasn't their most dangerous. They scored through the middle. They started attacking in different ways, which really started to stretch the back 5 of West Ham, and I think that's what we're starting to see, is the different types of attacks they can deliver now, which is what Rene's spoken about. She must be proud.
How good was it to see Alessia Russo get that goal as well? Such unselfish work from her, a couple of assists too.
Well-earned player of the match. She was fantastic. Everything she does is as a top teammate, so I think everyone is so pleased to see her get 2 goals in the end because of the unselfish work. Everyone talks about that, but I think she's proud of it. I think she loves being that kind of teammate. I'm really glad she got player of the match and was recognised.
Yeah, and she created the first 2 goals as well. She won't get the assist for the very first one, but you know, I think people are very harsh. I think whenever a striker doesn't score goals, people are on them. There's a lot more to the role. I think she's grown into that. She's still developing, still relatively young.
That touch, Matt, was mad.
I think that reflected how much she does contribute in the game, though. And you know, people will always look at the score sheet and see, did she score? Tonight she did in the end, but sometimes players deserve a little more credit than some of the stats.
We will hear from both managers in just a bit. West Ham in that huddle after this defeat for them. Of course, a reminder, they actually went 1 up in this game, but brilliant response from Arsenal and Rene Sleggers' team, scoring 5 goals in this one. Crucial times as well for them to score and really change and reflect this game as well. We were talking about Alessia Russo. She is the player of the match. Let's hear from her now with Carl Walker.
Alessia, we spoke earlier on just about your work off the ball. You took till 90 minutes to get your goals, but you won't mind that, will you? You got 2 today.
Yeah, no, it was a great performance. Probably didn't start exactly how we wanted to start, but sometimes that happens when you come away from home to a tough ground like West Ham. So, yeah, we turned it around, especially in the second half as well, and we were clinical with all our chances. I think Frida's in the first half as well changed momentum, and then we pushed on from there.
Talking about your work off the ball, your touch map came up. You were running your socks off today.
I'm feeling good. Yeah, I feel like I had a lot of games over the summer, and you kind of are always ticking over. And I took some rest, and then straight back into pre-season, and we've been working really hard. And yeah, when the games come around, that's exactly where we want to be. I'm just ready for it.
2 different types of goals today. That strike, talk me through that. What was going through your head as you thought to hit the ball?
Well, it was a great cutback from Liv, I think. And then, yeah, I just touched and hit it. I think we practice that so much in training, in and around the box, and I probably don't do it enough at times. And, yeah, I just went for it.
And then sometimes you need to take a pause, take a breather when you've got a penalty. You managed to slot that one home as well.
Yeah, penalties are things that you always have to practice as athletes. So, yeah, whenever that moment comes, I'm happy to step up. But, yeah, overall, just happy with the win tonight.
And then final one from me, how good can this performance, how much can it bring you all together?
Massively. I think you can see already in the last 2 games how much of a massive squad we've got. We've got players that can come in, players that can start, players that can finish, that are all such full of talent, and that's where we want to be playing, in a team full of amazing players.
Well, Alessia, congratulations, you are the Barclays WSL Player of the Match. There you are.
Cheers. Thanks.
That is your weekend up and running then. That win for Arsenal coming from behind against West Ham to win 5-1. And Manchester City also came from behind against Brighton to win 2-1 in that one. The weekend has started, but there's plenty more where that came from. Has talked ahead of this one about layers from her team, about creativity and finding a way to score the goal. 17 shots, 6 on target, 5 of them count. They also had another one ruled out for offside. 5-1 then on the night. Rene Wilkinson and Rachel Coursey here, and you can see just over our shoulder Rene Sleggers joins us as well. Congratulations, Rene. How was that one for you?
It was a hard game. We were prepared for a hard game. They came out differently. This ground is always hard to go to. They are a very disciplined team. Intensity was really high across 90 minutes. And we had to overcome a 1-0 goal again by our opposition. But again, we are very calm and composed, and we come back into the game.
You say calm, composed. We saw you at half-time, I think, sat out in that rain for about 5 minutes, just taking it all in. What were the tweaks you made at half-time?
Yeah, there's no coach's office inside, so we stayed outside instead. A couple of things. We were happy with our out-of-possession detail. We had a couple of tweaks in our own possession, so how we wanted to beat their first press, because they were really aggressive. Every time we passed backwards, sideways, they came and pressed us, so we wanted to find solutions there. And then build some longer attacks in the final third. Even though there was spaces and runs, we had to manage the game and create some rhythm in the game.
Yeah, you called it. You said, I actually can't go in because there's no coach's office.
don't choose to stay in the rain, I don't think. I was so impressed with your team. Congratulations, a really professional performance. I think you talked about going a goal down in the first 2 games and how the team reacted, but equally Alessia spoke about how connected this group is and how they work together and how they support each other. How much work are you doing at the beginning of this year to connect the team around that culture of support?
Yeah, so there was already a very strong foundation. And I think with how my role shifted from being the assistant coach to interim coach to head coach, I think my advantage is I knew the group, I knew the players, and I think found a way to build what we wanted to build and what would work together with the players, and ownership has been a really big part, so the players have been a big part of everything we're building. But what we did this season, pre-season, we created some more details and some more specifics within the culture we want to create, and I think we've done amazing work with the whole staff involved and players as well, and the idea is that gives us the foundation for this season.
Rene, it's Rachel Corsie here. Congratulations as well. But I probably want to ask, tonight you obviously went to a very different venue than what was last Saturday at the Emirates. I got to watch that one too live, and I think as a player as well, I know how glamorous it feels to be at the Emirates. I think some of the away games will be quite a challenge for you, is in the sense of the environment and how different that is. Do you address that through the week? Do you speak about these things? How do you sort of take that part into the week's preparation?
We do, because we want to know the setting, of course. You analyze opposition, but you also want to know the setting and the circumstances. So absolutely, that's been prepared during the week. But what we mainly spoke about is that all we can do is focus on ourselves. So that's been a very, very big focus. And I think that's also why, because the players come out with that mindset, that's why we find the solutions. We stay calm in all different moments. So I'm really happy with that from a mentality perspective.
Talk a lot about the players, but what about for you? Nearly a year now since taking charge. For you, what have you learnt in that time? How have things shifted for you in the way that you manage?
Like I said, something happened in that interim period, so I wanted to understand and see where the group was at, and create something, give them a direction, and I think together that's been going really well. So I think what I've learned during this period is that I now understand that things we're doing, they can lead to positive things. So we believe in the things we're doing, but we also understand that it's very hard work. It's very hard work, and we need to be very humble. And everything we do every day is going to add up and count in the end.
Thank you for your time tonight and for staying out in the rain for us as well. Rene Sleggers joining us live here on Sky Sports after that 5-1 win for Arsenal. You know, Rene, all about what it takes to be a manager at this level and what it takes out of you too. I guess it won't have felt like a year. I mean, it's not quite. Yeah, but it probably have felt like 10, the work that you have to go through.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with both the managers, but Rene, this is a tough thing to do, to go from an assistant where you have to be close with the players, you have to be, you support the coach, but you make those connections, to then, as she said, interim, where you're sort of in this half position, you don't know which way, so the players are still sort of leaning on you, to now you're the coach. Now players are not going to like you because you're not choosing them, and she's got to balance that. So she said, her English is incredible, by the way, but she said something happened so clearly. That piece about being humble, about getting back to the roots, about working hard, about earning your minutes on the field. She's got big stars believing in her vision, and I'm very impressed.
Yeah, it totally is a reflection of what you heard from Alessia Russo, is that humble nature as well, that work ethic. You can see that's coming from her.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I've sort of heard through speaking to different players is communication is one of the things that she values extremely highly, which I think is hugely important, because you have to have difficult conversations at times. It's a massive part about building trust. And I think the other part of that is also she does have a relationship with the players where she understands she can listen to them. And I think when you have that communication channel, yes, there'll be moments when you have disagreements or players might be unhappy. Those things will happen. But I think when you have channels that are open, I think good outcomes over time come through as the majority of the case.
You know what else is happening is going a goal behind. If we go all the way back to the start of this one, and and West Ham taking the lead. I mean, you're not going to see this every game, clearly, the conditions as well, and we've already spoken about Van Donselo. This is so unlike her, Rachel.
Yeah, really surprised because having played with her and having played, lots of teams and different goalkeepers, one of her huge strengths is coming for crosses and handling. So this is a rare mistake. And unfortunately, when you make a mistake as a goalkeeper, it can lead to a goal. It's a ball that's hopeful more than anything from Martinez. And she just, as it comes over her head, she just sort of starts to realise she's reaching for it. And it's such an unfortunate outcome for her. Just comes back off the post and then hits her and goes in.
They go behind like they did against London City, and then you're looking for the response from this Arsenal team. I know Alessia Russo got the plaudits player of the match, but again, Beth Mead starting this one, another assist, and just the work rate from her starting this game as well for the equaliser.
Absolutely. I think they're going to be impressed with the work of the entire team from the back line through, no shots on target. And then I think goal accidents happen. Goals will be allowed, but how you react is the most important thing, and how they just got back on the ball, worked hard for each other. I think it really is another indication of how connected this team is and how hard they're willing to work for each other's success.
Yeah, it was a great team goal.
A really great team goal, and I think Rene Sleggers talked about how they tried to find solutions. They were calm, and there we see, them willing to go a little longer initially when the space is there. That Arsenal love to keep the ball in possession, but if you allow them space in behind, they'll very quickly exploit it. And Russo's, in the end, we acknowledge she won't get the assist for that one, but she's a massive part of what creates.
I gave it to her. She'd have it. No, Mead again, who's just been brilliant in terms of assists. I think it's just over 50 minutes and she's got 3 assists already this season. Then we saw that she was outside. You said it, she's got nowhere to go and sit inside, so she's outside, different conditions, half-time, changes things. Blackstenius coming on and getting the reward.
Yeah, I think we talked about Beth Mead. She's chosen to stay. She has something to prove, and you see that with Blackstenius as well. They're all working for each other, but equally they're all putting themselves on the platform and showing up. I think Renee's going to have some huge decisions, but those are exactly what you want. It's been held against them in the past that they don't have the depth, and now she's got a new problem, which is how you juggle so many talented players.
I think she's shown how well she can do that, though, and just that little touch from Russo into Blackstenius' path, and even just the reaction from the players off the back of the nice finish with the left foot into the far corner. There's a clear togetherness, and that's what team goals come about from that. They trust one another. That was a really nice finish.
I know we have to see the other goals, but just briefly on that, would she have learnt from her time under Jonas Eideveld and seeing actually how at times he perhaps struggled to bring all these players into the team?
Oh, she will have learned under him. I think he was a big mentor to her. She's talked about that. Every coach you have, you'll learn from. You'll take what you like and you'll take because we're all different. And she's developing her philosophy as she's had great experiences as a coach, and those will keep developing as she learns. And she's clearly a learner already. You talked about she's not quite been in the job a year, and she's already developing her play, and she's changing and tweaking how she wants to coach this group of players, which I think is a great mindset.
Goals, goals, goals everywhere. Should we have a look at the third? So Caitlin Ford with this. We know she'd go on to have one disallowed, but this a good header from Ford.
Yeah, nice finish. I think we noticed from the start Arsenal had worked quite hard on their creative strategies off corners that took a lot short, looked to move players, and I think in this case, Caitlin Ford just gets played onside at the back post there. And for somebody who's not maybe the tallest player in that Arsenal side, she's very, very good in the air, and that for her is a fairly straightforward.
How would you have defended that? Wouldn't have allowed it in, would you? Hey?
Hopefully not, but I will say I think Caitlin Ford's beaten me in there too a few times. So.
And me.
Forgive you. And no stopping this from Russo as well. Such a sweet shot. She had these efforts that we've seen from her before, but the minute it comes off to her, you just think that's going in the back of the net.
Yeah, that's a great finish. I think really smart from Katie Reid. Good little insight to see, the ball was sort of inside channel to Olivia Smith, and Russo's got such a good strike on her. You almost think she might. I think she initially thinks she might try and bend that one in. In the end, sort of does a little bit of a hybrid and sort of then goes for power in the end, but it's a wonderful finish, top corner, keeper's got no chance, and she deserved that.
There was a lovely bit as well in this. Did you see Olivia Smith with her celebration too? You can see how much that meant to her for Russo to get that goal.
Yeah, I think that was a very sophisticated goal. The pass inside, but also a forward coming off the back shoulder of the midfield line. I think the cross to Russo, you could argue, is slightly behind her, but actually, Russo talked about it, that they've been training this. It allows her to put the ball out of her feet exactly as she'd like it. She doesn't even look up. She's just swinging through the ball. So a really sophisticated movement from back to front, and I think showing the great work they're doing, obviously, in training.
And then 5 through a penalty.
Yeah, again, really great from Olivia Smith. She, in a game like this, she knows she's going to have to affect it coming off the bench, and as young players are, every time they get the opportunity to step onto the grass, they want to, and she loves to get at people. That's one of her absolute assets, is dribbling with the ball at her feet, close control. She almost makes the defender think she can try and make a tackle, and in the end earns the penalty, definitely a penalty, and Russo's
it's the
great
last
from the
second,
spot.
right? She just
A couple of defeats now for West Ham. You rightly said to me, what do you mean bubbles burst? It was a reference to West Ham and the bubbles. But they lost that first game against Spurs, to lose this one now. Where's it going wrong for West Ham at the moment?
I think the games are different. I felt last weekend they gave a good account of themselves, late on penalty, difficult. Thought it was a pretty even game against Spurs. Tonight, I think it was different. I'm a little surprised just listening back to that, in that I probably expected her to be a little more frustrated at the goals that they lost, because I think a lot of them, we're so used to West Ham, I think, defensively being really, really difficult to get much at all out of them. They give you very little change. They're very organised, very disciplined. They've got defenders who like to defend. They'll let you put balls in the box. They're willing to be competitive. I didn't feel we saw that side of them tonight, and that's something we almost always do get. So I think maybe when she watched it back, the analysis they maybe cover on some of the defensive stuff might be a little tough to watch, but we do know they can do that. So I expect against the teams that are in and around them in that mid-table, where I think they can competitively be in amongst those teams, that's when those moments again will be crucial. So from nights like tonight against a top team, top forward, you've got to take all these lessons and you've got to just improve, and you keep improving week to week, then I think they'll be fine.
Let's have a little look at the other game tonight. Manchester City coming from behind against Brighton to win this one. The early goal from Fran Kirby. Michelle Adjemang, how often do we talk about her? The parry not being cleared. I mean, Fran Kirby starts this move and finishes it.
Yeah, takes it down beautifully, sprays the ball wide left, joins the play, and is there for the sort of second, third phase, which is exactly what you want from a midfielder.
And Bunny Shaw doing what she does.
Incredible. We love that goal.
And Hasegawa, again, another of these players that she just makes the ball work for her.
Yeah, this is a complete goal. Lots of technical ability shown, and a fantastic sort of demonstration of what they can do. They definitely didn't have they hit their top levels, but you can see what they have potential of.
That for me could be goal of the season so far. So we've had some good goals. Team
Oh,
goal
wow,
like
wow.
Liv Smith and
I like
Russo.
it. I like it. I like the team goals.
Whatever. Disagree with her, feel free. You can get in touch. There's loads of social content on Sundays. Anyway, something you won't disagree with if you're an Arsenal fan at the moment is us showing you the table. Some say it's too early in the season. Look at them. Top of the table. Enjoy it if you're a Gooner. Arsenal top. 3 points in their first match, coming back from that again tonight, doing it the hard way. Have you been surprised by anything at the start of the season so far? Apart from her saying that was the goal of the season.
Yeah. No, I haven't, and I think Rene Sleggers spoke about it. She felt like her team was playing to a level she was happy with till 65, and that's what Arsenal has now done. They've sort of taken that step into a position where they have all different types of threats, because I do think West Ham forced a lot of crosses, and they weren't of high quality early in the game. A lot went off the pitch. West Ham had trained sort of clogging space in front of the six, making sure that was taken, and then they started using different central passes, the combinations, and you saw that West Ham was leaving that top of the box open, and that's where I think the majority of the goals came from.
What about you? Having an eye on your Wales players. You've got Australia in October coming up. Thoughts so far on how that one might shape up?
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I think, these are the games, and like West Ham, Wales, we have mountains to climb against some of the higher ranked teams, but how do you improve if you're not going up against the best? And West Ham will take a lot from this game to move forward. I know they will. And Wales, we had a wonderful Euros in terms of the experience and hopefully inspiring so many back home, but it was also really hard. We took a lot of hits, but I know that for myself, I can only speak for myself, but I'm sure the players are with me, that just motivated to push on and reach different levels, which I think West Ham will do as well.
Yeah, seeing the likes of Morgan, Welsh players doing well, tearing up the WSL too, can only be good for you. Rachel Coursey, Sunday, it's you on the sofa again. Another few matches for you to get your teeth into at the weekend.
Love it.
Not quite a couple of cricket scores for Arsenal so far. Elsewhere tonight, City, Slickers, but those Gunners, they're going to be hard to shoot down. Good night.